Okay, dear students, this is just a review class for the final. But however, some topics are missing from this because we don't have videos for all the lectures. Okay, so I will start with Introduction to Econometrics Lecture 9 Part 1. So we require the hypothesis test, definitely. So you should read that. You have to read the conditions for the hypothesis test. Um, so the normality conditions all are important in this video. The t distribution, so this is the chapter 5 from the uh, the the intro to statistics textbook. So you have to know the t distribution, and this example you can take a look at how to find the t stat. Okay, so these are important. So you guys are allowed to bring a cheat sheet, finding the p value, right? So inference, confidence interval for small mean. So finding the critical t value. Okay, so I recommend you guys to actually watch the entire 29 minutes of this, because most of the things are important here. All right, so how to interpret the confidence interval and the t distribution, so everything from this chapter. So the paired observation, the last 5 minutes of this video you don't have to, maybe I won't ask anything on the paired observation in the final, but other than that, so lecture 9, inference for numerical data, part 1, the first 24 minutes is really important. So let's go to the next video. In the next video, actually you can skip the first 2 minutes, first minute, because it's talking about, I think, the paired observation. So I'm not asking anything from the paired. So from minute 2, the parameter and point estimate you guys have to know. Setting the hypothesis, definitely. Calculating test statistics, p value, extremely important. So these are very important for the final. So practice the questions as I'm scrolling through. So ignore from 16. Okay, I'm not going to ask this example, minute 16, which again talks about the paired example, right? But from 22 onwards you have to know the ANOVA and explanatory analysis. You definitely have to know like what I have covered, right? So conditions, ANOVA, F test. All right, so these are important, definitely important. Hypothesis, joint hypothesis. All right, test statistics, F distribution, p value, all are important. So here you also have to watch the entire video. So you can skip the first 1 or 2 minutes, and from minute 16 to 21, so you can skip only those two things from this chapter. So next is the simple regression model. This actually is from the chapter 2. The chapter 1 is not recorded. So definitely you have to know the lean log model. Okay, you have to go through these examples, goodness of fit. So most of it you guys have to study from this video. All right, so goodness of fit, then measures of variation, right? All of those things are important. Make sure you write this down in your formula sheets. Okay, the examples, usually what I write there, you can also write it in your so you have to know what sum of squared total. These are all recap of goodness of fit and everything, right? So linear log model. So basically from this chapter, most of the things you guys have to know. You also have to know how to interpret the regression coefficient, right? If it's log both sides, then it's elasticity, but if there is no log on one side, then it's not the elasticity. All right, so it's important. So I might ask something like that from the example, right, in the exam. So you guys have to know what's fitted regression. So example is there. So make sure you watch the entire video for this. This slide in 51 minutes is very important, so you can look at it, and also these assumptions. So assumption 1, 2, 3, these are the critical assumptions that I'm going to ask in the final. All right, so the final is mostly descriptive, so all the assumptions, as I said, is important for our purpose. So from here you can't skip much. In fact, there's nothing to skip from lecture 11. All right, so from lecture 12, all right, so lecture 12 also is a continuation, so simple regression model. So I'm talking about that, so you guys have to know that for sure. The assumptions, all of them, you guys need to know all the assumptions. Right, so it's only a 22-minute video for lecture 12. So I recommend you guys to like watch all of this. And let's see what else. Okay, so these variance, the heteroscedasticity part, you guys should okay, it's important, this on minute 19, right? So it's very important. See, I have placed a double star, so watch the last 3 minutes of this video, very important. It might show up in the exams. All right, also the last few slides. So next we will go to the multiple regression model, which is the chapter 3. All right, so multiple regression estimation also very important. If you see, and especially this example which I was showing in class from minute 10 to like 15, I guess, or 14. So make sure like you watch it. So it's important. And if you recall, we also, so here I highlighted like a double star on minute 28. So this is important, 29 in fact, sorry. So you have to watch that as well for the exam. All right, and some examples are here. So you have to watch the more or less the entire 45 minutes of this video. All right, so that was 13. So let's look at 14 now. So here also for the multiple regression model, watch the example that I showed, the conditions for the multiple regression model, right? The assumptions, remarks. So those are important. Okay, nothing much you can skip. This minute 20 is extremely important from this lesson 14. Okay, slide 18. So you should know what I'm talking there. So irrelevant variables in a regression model, what is the problem? You guys have to know that. Okay, so, and especially on the minute 31, so I was showing like some of the things. So find the bias when we are estimating beta 2 workshop. So watch it, it's very important, right? Components of the OLS variance, right? So VIF, you can ignore the stata comments part. So here you guys already know it, so I'm not going to ask about stata, so you can ignore maybe the last 20 minutes or so. But variance in a misspecified model, this is also important. Okay, so I have gone through that part. So this is what is important, and these 5 assumptions which will be also continued in the lecture 15. All right, so let's look at lecture 15 now. All right, so that was about 14. So from minute 1 and 2, okay, so if the confidence interval is different, you will see that the things are kind of different. So this is only a 31-minute video. So minute 11 is important. Okay, computing the p-value. So as you can see, right? So, and this part is also important, so you guys have to how the p-value is computed in a two-sided test. So you guys have to also know that, right? Okay, basically almost everything from this video. So make sure you guys maybe you can skip the last 2 minutes because I was talking about my paper. And now lesson 16, right? So that was 15. In 16 I was talking, the first few minutes I was talking about the paper, so you guys don't have to watch that because I'm assuming you guys have already kind of talked about the paper, so I'm skipping that. So from 20 you have to like confidence interval for typical like for a multiple regression analysis inference. So you have to watch from maybe from 20 minutes onward for the final, right? And impossible to compute with standard regression output, right? So on lesson 16, this is the most important component, okay? So watch 32 minutes from lesson 16. This will definitely come, I'm guaranteeing you 100%. This would come in the exam. So 32 to 41 minutes, okay? That's the most important part of lecture 16, right? Now the last one, the 17 that I want to talk about, 17 and 18, right? 17 also, like you have to like basically read almost everything, the rejection rule and so on and so forth. So all are in joint hypothesis, okay? So logarithmic functions, the marginal effect. So I talked about the marginal effect, right? So 44. So and this graph, okay? So how to get the maximum? So read this slide on minute 50. Okay, wage equation. So marginal effect is also important for our analysis part, right? So I have talked about it a lot. So watch 110 minutes onward to like most of it. And there is a double star here, 122 minutes. So you have to watch that as well, right? And now lastly, lesson 18. Okay, please keep in mind that lesson 1, chapter 1 of Ulrich, we don't have the video. So qualitative information, dummy variable, you guys have to know everything from this chapter. Dummy variable trap, intercept shift. So watch the videos, okay? So here in fact you have to like watch the entire video, like all 16-17 minutes. Okay, that's about the final review. I will talk more in class on Monday, and I will go through the slides individually, okay? So make sure you watch the videos, and then on Monday you guys can ask me the questions. Okay, thank you.